Folks, I want to thank you for coming out tonight. We have a presentation from New York State DOT regarding this replacement project for the Mount Tremper Bridge along Route 28. The town, with our flood mitigation group, as well as DOT and several other people have been talking about this for years. We've been trying to find options and the best suitable way to approach this. They're getting ready to go out to bid coming this September, I believe. And we have representatives from New York State DOT. They're going to give a short presentation here, and Paul Terms and Rich Brashani. They're going to give you the presentation that they have. Afterwards, we ask them to hold your comments until after the presentation, and then you'll have the opportunity to approach each and every individual department that's involved in the project to discuss any comments or concerns that you may have with the project moving forward. As it stands right now, the way the project is slated to go on is that they're looking to build the new bridge downstream of the existing bridge, and that way Route 28 bridge will remain open so that we don't have any influx of traffic going to Phoenicia, and then the new bridge will be open, similar to what they did in Big Indian. It will open the lane in time, and the lanes will shift, and then they will demolish the old bridge once the new bridge is open. So with that, I'd like to turn it over to Paul, DOT.
Rob. Good evening, and thank you for coming. My name is Paul Terms. I'm the DOT's project manager for this project. I think what Rob, quickly gave a synopsis of the project, which is very accurate, and Rich Brashani, our hydraulics engineer, will give a more detailed, look into the project, why we're here, and how we ended up with the design we're currently at for the realigned 28, the new alignment of Route 212, and both highways are being raised above the 100-year flood level, 28 and 212, to remove these very important state corridors out of flood levels, so in emergency situations these roads should not be closed under events such as Hurricane Irene and events that have caused the closure of the road in the past. Tonight's meeting is a public information meeting, but it's also the state's eminent domain procedure law meeting. This project affects several or many properties that are in the floodplain of the Esopus Creek, and with our new design here to really allow the flow of the Esopus Creek through a much wider zone, it does affect many of the properties here. As you know, for years, whether you've been discussing with FEMA authorities or the New York City DEP, and in the most recent time of New York State DOT, as we're the ones finally progressing this project forward. As Rob mentioned, we're going to give a quick summary of the project, and then we're going to break out into several areas around the room where we'll have representatives from our real estate group and our engineering group to answer all questions. So if you come up to somebody, your real estate questions, we have 3 or 4 people from our real estate group, and with 3 or 4 engineers here working on the project. We have comment cards up front available to fill out. We have a stenographer sitting in the front of the room that if you don't want to write any comments and leave it with us, you can speak them to her, and then she'll take the notes and give us a summary of everybody's names and comments for the project. So we do want to hear from everybody, and so we will be here for a while after the presentation, giving everybody to listen to everybody. So I'll turn over the meeting to Rich, and he'll give you the details.
Hi everybody, I'm Rich Brashani. I'm the regional hydraulic engineer, and I was largely responsible for sizing the bridge for proposed floods, including potentially larger flood events in the future. This is the existing bridge. We did have several stakeholders in the project, including the town, county, and several state and federal entities. As we know, the bridge is not hydraulically adequate for these moderate and large storm events. It becomes impacted at about the 25-year storm, and then the flood berm starts overtopping at about the 35-year storm, which then overtops Route 28 and closes the whole system down. And then Lisa and Irene also caused some damage to the bridge. Part of that was due to the heavy debris load that gets carried by the creek at these high vents and was hung up on several of the piers and under the abutment. Pile caps were undermined due to this, but they are on long piles, so the bridge wasn't in danger of imminent collapse, although it did need to be shored back up, which is why it was closed a few days after the storm. Can't remember exactly how long it was, but I think at least a week maybe. It was built in 1966. Actually, the flood control berm that we'll talk about a little later predates the bridge and the current road alignment. It's about 336 feet long, has 3 piers in the river channel. Again, it's not adequate and has heavy debris load catchment, and it causes an artificial rise in the 100-year storm elevation of about 3.5 feet, and this artificial rise extends about 850 feet upstream of the bridge. So of course, the state is most concerned about the bridge location here. 212 is over here, and the flood control berm is shown in orange, and that's the floodplain map in the hatched area. And at these high flow events, instead of flowing with the river, a lot of the floodplain flows flow over the berm and over the approach, causing significant damage. During Irene, this is looking towards the bridge from 28 near the cabins property, a little further away from the farm stand. A lot of these pictures were supplied by Aaron Bennett, if you heard. This is looking towards 28 from 212 near the post office. Looking at the bridge after the peak flow from upstream. Some of these are auto slides apparently. This is an aerial that shows a lot of the devastation up and down, including, and these pictures were all used to help calibrate the hydraulic models. Basically, where there was mud, we knew the water was. And again, looking at the bridge after cleanup and the heavy debris load that was in the creek. So the project objectives, the simplest objective is to keep the bridge and Route 28 open during these high flow events, because it's a critical corridor for people living up in the area to get to and from emergency services. Get the services up there, get down to the Kingston, to the hospital, that sort of thing. We're going to do that by replacing the bridge with a hydraulically adequate structure, which will be about 800 feet long. It will also have 4 piers, but only one will be in the river channel, located furthest away from where the berm is now, where the flows are slower and there's less debris. In order to help keep 28 open, we can't have the water spilling onto 212 anymore, because it will still keep coming over the 28 approach. So we're actually going to lift up 212 significantly to impound the water and force it to go under the bridge. In doing so, that renders the flood berm, which is not adequate for the 100-year storm, somewhat irrelevant. So in order to raise 212, we're going to remove the flood berm and over-excavate the area and use that material to lift up 212. A lot of the suggestions came from the local flood analysis that was done for the town by Malone McBroom, including the over-excavation. So here's the concept raising of 212 and the removal of the flood berm with the wider bridge opening shown. As Rob said, the bridge actually will be just to the downstream of it, not on top. Again, here's a view of the berm upstream and downstream. And we're going to remove that all and over-excavate about 200 feet to allow both a higher flow area and less impediments by the removal of the trees, so the water can flow through more smoothly. Just an outline of the water inundation on the existing condition 100-year storm event with the Army Corps berm shown. And the proposed condition, you can see the new road alignments will actually be out of the flood zone. There will be, whether the culvert remains in this location or is moved over here, there will be some backwater inundation through the culvert. That area will have water about 6 feet lower than the water currently is during storm events. You can see that the proposed condition flood elevation is much smoother through the bridge and much lower for that 850-foot zone upstream. There is some change downstream because we're forcing the water now to stay in the channel, whereas before it was leaving the channel. And so this is the area that DOT is concerned about by adding to the flooding issues there, and is part of the reason why the DOT will be taking some of the property. The videos aren't running here, so I'll just run them off the machine. So this is obviously a model video simulation of the existing condition. Everybody let me know. Doesn't appear that it wants to show anything. Cody, do you know how to get this to play? Well, that's pretty much the end of the presentation. I can show the videos on the side if you want after.
Well, maybe we'll get that going, but there is one aspect that I wanted to mention that's on one of these boards is a Route 212 detour. In raising 212 approximately 10 feet from its current elevation, we need to probably close 212 for a period of 2 to 4 weeks while we construct the new highway. We are still working out those design details right now. Anybody who lives on 212, you will always have access in and out of your property. But in general, for through traffic, and it's on the boards up there, has a detour route, takes you to Phoenicia and back around at 28 on the, I can't remember, the Ulster County route. So that will be an added aspect just for constructability. You know, it's hard to keep traffic there, raise the road 10 feet and keep it going. So for anybody who lives on 212, you will have continuous access to your house, but it will affect the local community thereof and whatever traffic that goes down there on a normal basis for a couple of weeks. It'll be the type of thing where we'll ask a contractor to do it much faster than he normally would and probably have some incentive to finish early and a penalty to finish late. And when we get more details, we'll land on the exact time frame, but it's expected 2 to 4 weeks. Did you get it going? Okay, at this point, we'll split up. We have a set of boards in the back of the room. We have a set of boards in the front of the room. So have your questions. We have the stenographer in the front. We have comment cards and pens here. Come find any of us and ask all the questions, and we'll stay here till everybody's satisfied. Thank you.
Thank you, Jesse.
Actually, my neighbor, Patrick,
I'll let Ricky.
I got a letter.
this is elevated, or
This will be, over here it's elevated maybe only another couple feet. And you'll have on your section.
I'll tie it in.
No, so this access will be over the driveway, and then moving that pavement, they shouldn't be on.
Be on the other side. That's this side.
Yeah.
You would add more to that, but it would be really, I mean, you were talking about.
How's that going to affect egress into the property? The driveway will be a hill coming down, but there will be a driveway access.
Is that John's? That's John's thing, and this is me right here.
So there are two separate parcels.
Yeah, this is a very small parcel.
So
He's kind of on mine actually. Where this comes in is pretty much my property. And I have a letter that says dollars.
it's the property over here. It's just to the left.
I have does not say timber.
Grab Kristen.
There's no issue with imminent domain area.
No, because we're actually building on the other side of the road from here. So, yeah, we're just going to tie it in. And then whatever the property line is on this side, we can stay in front. So this is actually the property line. So that's going to stay the same. On that side of the blue, north is Golden Grove. So yes, so they're either bought by DEP or NYSDOT. Some of the other stuff, so the permanent easement, we were going to replace the culvert and realign the ditch here, but I think we might be doing it here now for Upstream. So that may be the ones on this property that was previously bought by FEMA, they're removed already. On this property, we're going to be buying and pay it whatever just in terms of what that line would say, if this is her property, that doesn't seem, I don't see it.
I still need to look at this.
So on this, you can see how the berm is mounted up. Just individually addition is kind of right here. It's on the screen. Right. I wish I had the video running properly, so you can see how it has closed arrows, and you can see how it comes this way now. And how it will still spread out but come through.
What is the time?
The bridge will be starting to get built probably about a year from now. And we usually give them 2 years, but that doesn't mean that it'll take and you might expect the 212 plan to happen maybe 2 years from now. So they'll be done with the demo by the end of 2020.
Hey, good. Thank you much. I'm an engineer.
Yeah, this was one of the more interesting. So many variables.
It was further down.
Yeah, then he's doing that one.
Thank you much.
Here, come take a look at the proposed. I think I sent you the existing report. Did I ever send you the proposed?
No. I want to see the proposed.
Realized there were too many.
And I know the assembly they were too small yet, so I appreciate that change.
Yeah,
It's
so
funny, because it went 0.25 it came to 0.248.
yeah, so the actual 212 used to be 28, and that's why it shoots for
Yes,
Which one do you want to look at?
It doesn't have to stay straight. It does not have to stay
That don't carry an old waterway. But if you have a known drainage issue, you can try to take a look at it.
Yes, I'm trying to know the drainage issue. Now, you can ask, it's not that bad. Am I being recorded? The last problem is this side of my house is in the so-called 5-year plan, which now FEMA on the new regulations made it in the flood zone, which my house is from the mid-1800s. It has never flooded. Even after
And Irene was
water in the
Q8. That means 80 years. That's what they're.
Well, I lived in this whole area.
There are people who think that was a low risk and it was more like
It was way
20
more.
or higher.
Yeah.
I can only go with the data that's given me from USGS and FEMA. But I'm not disagreeing.
So here, you see, this neighborhood here has a pond. It's a man-made pond. But you see this little stream
Yeah, it
here.
comes off the mountain.
There are several streams that come off the mountain.
Yeah, under the railroad.
This, and then it winds down to the Esopus. So by the time it gets down there, it looks pretty big. It's significant. And I know that the trout do come up stream and spawn. So this guy has the normal drainage. So I normally can mow my whole property, on that lower level. But because they've got it all dammed up, it never dries out. So therefore, a significant chunk of my property is left useless to me. I can't even access it because of this permanent stream now that used to be more of a one-way,
Right.
one-off to
Yeah,
the
just
main.
when it rains.
Yeah, I don't think, I understand that you can't dam the stream without a permit.
Right, and that's not something that the DOT gets involved in. I definitely understand your concern.
Yeah.
My problem from the
DEP, nobody has addressed this issue,
And unfortunately, the DOT can't really do anything except for where it crosses the road. I can't tell a private property.
okay. Now, I would say that the DOT is also contributing to the problem that I have because when this toilet was built, they put, so it would be up here somewhere. And they put the culvert underground, and not on the soccer field side, that's all level, but they put a drainage ditch through there, but that drainage ditch, the walls of it go abut right up to their slope. So again, they're further causing a problem by not letting that drainage field.
I can look into that drainage.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah. So what I would like to do is just allow out those dams, just so that when the transport pass through and get down to the creek again. But I just because I've grown up here, I lived in Southwest my whole life. It's been in my family since 1872, the house I lived in.
All right, folks, I just want to thank you all for coming out. We're going to close out the video just because it's contained discussions that are going on. So Ellen can go home, wrap it up. We just need a closure for the video. So thank you again for coming out. Appreciate your comments and any future comments you have. You can send me those.